I am starting this video over. Today, per usual, we're recording 2 or 3 videos. This one that we're recording right now is the build breakdown and somewhat of a walk around and a continuation to yesterday's video, which is the walk around and what the car is and what the car has and how it got to where it sits today. But this video is about how much I paid for the car and how much I have into it thus far. So this is my little list, and we'll get into it with a little bit of backstory and explanation. So a while back, I saw this car for sale originally. I believe it was like 12,000 bucks twin turboed when it was just finished, and I don't think it was running at the time. So, or it was running and driving at the time the same way that I got it, but it needed the turbos to be fixed. Then about a year later, when I was looking for an e36, I saw it pop up again for sale for 9,500 or 10,000 or 10,500, something like that. And then I offered the guy $9,000. He said no. I offered him 9,500. He said yes. I went to look at it, and you guys can go back in the playlist to see the videos of like when I first got the car. It was twin turbo 4.8 LS. That system was untuned. It was just on a base map, which is bad because you actually have to dyno tune that, or dyno tune anything. A base map won't work for something like that. That wasn't done, so the engine unalived itself, and that I didn't know because it's my first LS and stuff like that. The car ran and drove, so I just thought, as I was told, that the turbos were bad and it just needed to fix the oiling system as well as change the turbos because it was probably bad seals. So that was not the case. Unfortunately, we did do that, but we ended up selling the turbo kit, so that's $1,200. So now we're $8,300 into the car. After that, we bought some, what do you call it? So after that, we factor in the fact that we had to get the turbos taken off. I mean, get the turbos changed and do all that stuff, trying to diagnose it before we actually sold the kit. The labor was about $1,000, so now we are back $9,300 into the car. Car has no exhaust at this point, so we are at the point where we are buying headers, $500, the headers that we have. Then the labor to get those headers installed, $500. So then we're at about $10,300 into the car. That didn't fix it because, again, it was a bad engine from being blown, running twin turbos untuned, with whatever AFRs, whatever fuels running, whatever the ECU, just trying to compensate for whatever it has. So we are skipping a part, but we end up getting the 5.7 LS that's in there for $1,500, so that makes us $11,800 into the car. Getting the 5.7 rebuilt, the 4.8 taken out, the no start issue diagnosed, and a whole bunch of things like that. That labor was $2,380. So now we are $14,180 into the build, where it sits right now. And we're just going to factor in another $500 for miscellaneous expenses, whether that be like oil and parts and little things like that. And you're probably wondering, like, what about the seats that you bought? The seats that I bought are a part of it, but not really, because unless this car sells for the asking price, which we will get into afterwards, they're not going with the car. I'll be keeping those. Same for the steering wheel. I'll be keeping that, which is why I didn't particularly factor that into the cost, but I may have just added that into the miscellaneous expenses. So the grand total for this build so far is about $14,680, and that is cash from just this year, which is not too great. Like 14 or base, so pretty much 15 grand. I could have had the down payment on an F87 M2, full bolt-ons on that car, and a bit of a ways into paying that car off. I would have been about like close to halfway through paying off a F87 M2. And you're probably wondering, do I regret this or do I not? What would I have done differently? Things like that. So that's what we're going to get into right now. What I would have done differently is waited, because literally the day after I bought this, even though I was waiting to buy one for like, I was looking for them for about 3 months, there were literally none for sale. I was asking people, oh, I don't want to sell mine, this, that, and the third, da-dee-da-dee-da. And literally the day after I bought mine, the one that I was originally looking to buy was a black on black 6.0 cammed, rebuilt, blah, 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 blah. For, I believe it was like, it was a little bit more, but I don't remember the price, but I could have bought that one. And I was like, bro, like, I've been asking you for 2-3 months and you're like, you know, I'm not going to sell, da 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 da. But again, should have waited. If I waited one more day, we would not be in this situation, and the car would have more than likely been supercharged and bagged and wide bodied and all that stuff to my liking. But again, such is life. We're here, and I don't particularly have any regrets, because it was a learning experience. I've learned a lot. I found a shop that I actually like and can work with. Granted, it's a little out the way, but it's worth it for the price and the work. So shout out to Eddie, Purpose Built, the GOAT, the mad scientist. But what I would do differently is I would have waited and just bought another one. Would I have purchased an E36 and purchased all the swap parts and did the swap and everything like that? Not really, unless I found like an M3 for a really, really good deal, like a manual M3. I would have sold the S50 or S52, sold the transmission and sold everything within that, the harness, the ECU, and all of that. And then I would say that's a good idea. But if you're gonna do that, I would say get like a 135 or a 335 and do that, because the N54, the transmission, and all that kind of stuff, unless you're keeping the manual, the 335 or 135, you'd get a lot of money back from selling all those stuff, and then the swap would have basically just been the price of labor and parts of the swap, like the engine, the harness, and blah blah blah. Like all that stuff would have been offset. So if that's the case, then yes, that's what I would do. I am considering that next after this thing sells. But would I have done the swap and everything like that, or had somebody do the swap myself? Maybe, if I'm in a situation where I have like the 135. Considering that, yes, but time-wise, no, because I don't really want to wait for somebody to do to take all the stuff out, then have to sell it, and then do that. Like, that's a lot of work and a lot of time and a lot of effort. So what I'm going to do is, yet again, once I sell this, buy the 1 Series or buy the Vet or buy whatever car that I'm looking for that's already done, but it's going to be running, not something I have to fix, because getting it to and from a shop that's in another state, granted it's only an hour away, it's a lot of work, a lot of time, a lot of effort, and a lot of waiting, because once you find a good shop is going to be busy, so things take time. So I'm just going to buy a proper running and driving, slightly newer car. Is this a bad car? Absolutely not. This thing is actually pretty great. It just needs a tune and an alignment, and it'll be all set, and that should be done within the next like week or two, because I'm gonna have to take some time off of work because I have PTO that I need to use, so I'm gonna do it anyway. But yeah, like it's a cool car. It's definitely fun, and once it's like tuned and dialed in, it's gonna be really sick. So whoever does buy it, they're gonna get a great car that's done properly, unlike what I did, because he did have to change quite a bit of stuff. But yeah, like, I really don't have much complaints. I am asking $17,000, which is a decent price, because I see like beat on drift cars that are gutted and everything like that for anywhere between like 15 and 20 grand, and it's not even ones with like super nice cages and stuff like that. It's just gutted solid bushings and blah blah blah. But yeah, let's show you guys the heart of the beast before we wrap this video up. But yeah, that's just pretty much where we're at with it. Once it sells, new build per usual. You're probably like, oh Jermaine, you always do this, you always buy a car and then you sell it in da 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 da. But me, literally the main reason that I want to sell this car is because it's blue. I don't like blue cars. And then having to paint it, that'll be time and money and blah blah blah. So the next time I'm just going to get a car that's already black or already a color that I do like. Blue, I am absolutely not a fan. But yeah, while I have it, we're going to be making more content with it, having more fun with it, sorting it out, and then it'll sell. I will either break even or lose a little bit of money, but at the end of the day, I really don't care too much about that. It'll be worth it in the end. It's a learning experience, and yeah, guess we just got to see what happens with it after we, after we sort everything out. So thanks for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.